Hey guys, so I'm back. I'm gonna start posting regularly again. I know I say this a lot, but this past 2 years I have really been going through a lot of transitions, a lot of changes, just a lot of things in my life have been, shifting. And now here I am, and I'm gonna tell you my story. I'm gonna tell you what I've been through and the life that I've lived and how I've grown from it and what I've learned from it and how you can also grow and learn from your past as well, because our past does not define who we are. Yes, our past does make us better, you know, people in the long run, because, it's always able to be flipped around and changed for better, right? So, just to start off, this video, is going to be, about my brother and I and the grief I've been going through and a little bit about the journey that we had together. Um, by the way, my name is Shea. Welcome to my channel. If you would like to subscribe and join our community and grow with us, I would really love that. So let me just go ahead and get into it. When we were growing up, we were really close. We were like best friends. We went outside and played together. You know, I actually ended up buying where I'm at now. Like, this is where we grew up. And, we would always go out at night before the street lights came on, or come home before the lights came on, or before the sun went down, or whatever, and um, then from there, as we grew into high school, like, you know, I was known as Gino's sister, so right there, like, made me feel like my identity wasn't important. My identity didn't matter, right? That's what my process and my brain was thinking. My brain was like, oh, well, since you're just somebody's sister, you're nobody, right? But little did I know, I was just young and didn't understand this world yet, right? So moving forward, fast forward, into high school, we started partying, started doing drugs, started hanging out with the wrong crowds, right? And like, I kind of went my own way for a little bit there, and he kind of went his own way. Like, he was the big football star, and I played softball and stuff like that, volleyball, but like, I wasn't really the popular one, which probably because I was weird. I've always been weird, but that's okay. I don't care. Everybody's weird in their own way, right? But from there, it went to us going our own ways. I got I had my best friends. We were always partying. I started doing meth at the age of 17. And at the age of 15, I actually moved in with my mom. And, I was started to sell pills for her so she didn't get in trouble, right? And when I was selling pills for her, that's when I started doing it, because, like, if I'm going to be selling it for her, why not do it? Why not join the fun, right? Why not join the party? So there I am, joining the party with everybody else. And that's when I started being around people that were injecting drugs, right? And I was selling my mom's Oxycontin, her Opanas, her Loratabs, whatever it was she had. I was there. I was to sell it, right? And so from there, my addiction just got worse. Me and my brother, we weren't really even talking at that point, which we were still close. I still loved him, we still, obviously he's my brother. We're still teenagers. We're going to talk, but we just weren't as close as we were, obviously, as we were growing up. But I feel like we all, as everybody gets older, we eventually all grow apart, right? And so once we got... once I got to the point, I was hanging around all these people, injecting drugs, doing all that. Like, I got to the point where, hey, I want to try it. Why not try it? Why not let me try it? And the people I were hanging out with, they were like, no, you're too young. You're not going to do that. Da-da-da. So I didn't do it. Whatever. So a few years later, fast forward, I started doing heroin, and then started hanging out with different people. And that's when my addiction started to get worse and worse. At the end of high school, I ended up stealing from a store because I was on Xanaxes, because I wanted to, just because I wanted to. I ended up getting caught, got in trouble. I did 6 months in jail over that. And I still didn't learn a lesson. I still didn't learn a thing. That day I got out, I had someone come pick me up from the jail so we could do some drugs that day in the parking lot, right? And so, once I got out of jail, started hanging out with my brother, because at that point, like, when we were separated, like, he had grown an addiction, like, because my mom was, like, really kind of feeding us both pills and whatever we wanted, like, we was getting it, as far as drugs went. Like, my mom wasn't my mom, she was more like my buddy, my friend, right? Like, not even a friend, like a using person with me, right? Like, my mom was never my mom. And so once we moved past that, once I got out of jail, we reconnected, me and my brother, and then we started using heavy together. We were stealing from stores, making all the wrong decisions, in life, like doing the complete opposite of what society tells us to do, right? Which I don't follow society's rules anyways, but that's a whole other thing. But so I went to jail probably 10 times, like 10 times over the past, from age 15 to age 26. I was using, like, this whole time, like from 15 to 26, 11 years, like, I used drugs that whole time. Like, I didn't care. I didn't love myself. I didn't want to be here. I didn't care if I lived or died anymore. Like, I was to the point where I hated myself, right? Like, I was in the darkest of the darkest times of my life. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. And then I got pregnant. I got out of jail, and the man that I'm still with today, I got pregnant with. We've been together since 2014. And we also got sober together, and now we have 4 children together, but I'll get there. So, let's see, 2018, I got pregnant October. I found out I was pregnant Thanksgiving, November. It was 2017. I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, and we were using, and we couldn't stop. And I'm not proud of that. And, it's just something I'm sharing for educational purposes, to show you that, change is possible. You can change your life. You can get your life back. You can get your power back. You can get that love, that encouragement you need for yourself back. You can get all of that back. All you have to do is continue to move forward and take one step at a time, and don't think too far ahead, because it's going to be too overwhelming. So in 2018, I had my daughter. June of 2018, I had my daughter. I ended up losing her to CPS, right? And after I had lost her to CPS, something inside of me broke. Something inside of me completely broke, right? Like, I felt like the worst and most disgusting human being on the face of this planet, because I brought a whole person into this world. And I was selfish, right? I was selfish, and I know that. I know that I was selfish. That baby came in this world in a drug addicted way, in a way that I'm not proud of. But I know that I made things right since then, because guess what? I have full custody of all of my kids. I only lost one kid, and that was in the beginning, before I got sober. 2 months after I had my daughter, though, my mom dies, right? And I was just completely shocked. I was lost. Didn't know what to do. Like, my grandparents pretty much had raised me my whole life, but obviously I still love my mom. I still wanted that love, that acceptance from her. That's why all the way back when I started selling the pills for her, that's why I started doing it, was because I wanted that love and acceptance from my mom, and that's the way I thought I would be able to get it, was to do what she wants me to do, right? No, come to find out, that's the last thing that you want to do with your mom, right? But yeah, I lost my mom. And September 26th of 2018, I went to rehab because at that point I was just so fed up. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was at my rock bottom. I was at the lowest of lows in my life, right? That following, I went to rehab. I went to a inpatient rehab for 37 days in one, and then I moved 2 hours away and went to another one. And they both significantly saved my life. They saved my life. It changed my life completely. After I got regraduated, I had a job. We got a place. 9 months later, we got our daughter back. And then fast forward, we lived up there. We was sober. We was doing great. We was doing everything right. And this whole time, mind you, my brother is out in the streets using still. 2019, he did get sober for about a year when his girlfriend went to jail. And then when she got out, they went back to using. So, my dream, right, this whole time, my dream is to be able to get sober with my brother, to be able for our kids all to be together, for us to go on vacations and, have a good life together. Like, I wanted this to be like me and him and our families and, growing together, growing up together, showing each other encouragement, that it's possible, right? And my brother, I got sober with my daughter, I got pregnant with my daughter, and then his girlfriend, they had gotten pregnant with theirs. He has 3 kids, and they never had any of their 3 kids, unfortunately, because they couldn't get out of the pattern of addiction. And that's what drew us apart, right? Because I couldn't have that around me, I couldn't have that around my children, and I didn't want to, right? I didn't want that life anymore. That's why I had moved past that, right? And I would keep in contact with him. I remember when he was sober, he came up to see us when we was living up in Indianapolis. He came up there. He drove a Corvette up there, right? And he just looked so good. I was so proud of him. And he was doing so good, And and then so we lived up in Indianapolis. He was doing good. He came and saw us or whatever, and then 2022 we ended up moving back down here. And that whole time we've been staying sober. We're staying sober. We're doing good, right? And then we moved back to our hometown, and that's where we had a little bit of a mishap. We had a little bit of a slip up because we came back to a place that we had been, the only thing we knew was using, right? So we ended up making a mistake there for about 8 months. We slipped up, and the important part is, though, guess what? I picked myself back up, right? We picked ourselves back up and started making the right choices again for our family. Because no kid deserves to go through that. It's not fair. It's not right. It's not. And so, and if people, want to judge me for this, I don't know. I don't know what to say. You don't have to watch this, but so anyways, so then we got sober. Again, it was 2020, the beginning of 2020, January of 2023. And I got pregnant with my last son, in May, right? We had him, and then this whole time we're trying to get my brother, hey, go to rehab, hey, we will help you, we're willing to help you, please, just come back home, come here, let us, allow us to help you, but I know what it's like you can't make someone come to you to make them let you help them, you know? It just doesn't work that way. You got to let them do what they're going to do, you know? Because no matter what, they're going to do what they're going to do either way, okay? So, and I, you know, even in my addiction, like, now, like, looking back, like, one thing I still don't understand is why they wouldn't at least want to do it for their kids if they couldn't do it for themselves, you know, which I'm not trying to judge nobody. I'm not judging nobody at all. It is what it is, but we come here to experience different things in this world, right? And some things are fair and just, some things aren't. And so, anyway, so fast forward to the night I got the phone call about my brother, right? Like, I had talked to him on May 3rd of this year. This happened back in May. This happened only 3 months ago. And I'm still grieving about it. I still am hurt on the inside and broken that he's not here no more, you know? And, so, May 3rd, I was able to talk to him and tell him that I loved him. And we were able to be silly together. And May 13th, or May 14th, it was May 13th night, May 14th morning at 1 a.m., I get a phone call from his girlfriend. Excuse me, I'm sorry. This is hard. I get the phone call from his girlfriend that he had gotten hit by a car when he was crossing the street because they were homeless in Louisville and living in a tent. And she said that he was walking across the road and a car was speeding down the road and it ran straight in and hit him. And that was one of the worst phone calls I've ever gotten. Because, you know, my ultimate dream and goal, right, was to get sober with my brother and for us to raise our families together. And now that dream is shattered, it's gone. Because he's not here no more. And addiction's hard when you've been through it and you see it from the other side. It's so hard. And anyways, I got that phone call and for some reason I had been feeling like just so at peace the last 2 weeks before that. I had just been feeling so at peace and so calm and just, I felt so good. I'm like, man, something just don't feel right, you know, something just don't feel right. And then, like I said, May 3rd I talked to him, and after I hadn't talked to him in like a year and a half. I hadn't talked to him in like a year and a half. And then May 13th I get the phone call. Your brother's dead. And it was like a punch to the throat. A punch to the heart, you know? Because all we want in this world is peace and happiness and freedom. And now I can't experience that freedom with him. Yeah, I have my family, but, you know, it's like I lost my mom, I've lost my brother, I've lost my grandparents. Like, I don't know who my dad is. Like, yeah, I do have the family that I created, and I'm so grateful for them. But it's nice to be able to have the family that you grew up with too, you know? And I know as we get older, things change, but it just makes it hard. But I want you to know that, like, if you're going through the side of somebody you know is an addiction, or you're in the addiction yourself, I see you. I know what you're going through. I promise. And if there's anything I can do to help, leave me a comment. I'll respond. And I want you all to know to keep your heads up and stay strong. We got this. Even when it seems hard, even when the times seem tough, we're going to keep moving forward. Love you guys.